All right. And we are live today on a Wednesday, beautiful Wednesday outside here in Cherryville, North Carolina. Shock Joxx brought to you by KTC Broadcasting. Hunter Yancey here, Kevin Hastings, Zac Mayhue in the house with us today, and he is Atlanta out of his mind. I'm looking over, we'll have it on the screen for you in a minute. We got the throwback A on the shirt and on the hat. You're feeling yourself today, aren't you? The Braves, you want baseball back.
I'm ready for baseball.
You're ready for baseball.
Ready for baseball.
I think a lot of us are ready for baseball. A lot of us are just ready for sports to be back in general. Also want to throw a big thank you for all of you guys that are tuning in to our live stream on Facebook. If you do miss this, though, however, this is also available after. Maybe if you want to go and re-listen to, you can re-watch it on Facebook. I think we also have it on YouTube as well, the replay on our KTC Broadcasting YouTube channel. And we are on most podcast platforms, Spotify, iTunes. Those are some of the major ones. Google Play, Google Podcast has us as well. So you can go there and find us.
We're on Apple.
Didn't work.
Oh, sorry. We're on Apple.
Oh, we're on Apple Podcast. Yeah, that's what I said, iTunes.
Yeah.
Isn't that? Well, yeah, Apple Podcasts. That's what this is called. Yeah. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and I think about 7 or 8 other podcast platforms. So you can find us, but there are multiple ways for you to listen to us. Now we're here where everybody can see us. Want to go ahead and give a big thank you to all of our listeners. Zac, how's your week been so far? Hump day today.
Yeah, it is. Busy.
Busy.
Yep, as usual.
Yeah.
We do have meat at the grocery store. If anybody needs meat, come to Harris Teeter. I just went into Food Line, and they were still 50-50, so we're pretty stocked in Denver Harris Teeter. So
Denver Harris Teeter's got the meats. It's not Arby's that has the meats. No. Right. It's Harris Teeter. They have the meat. So what we're going to get into today, we got some uniforms that have been people have been starting to put new uniforms out in the NFL. And the Browns are one of them that have also done it. And I'm going to be honest, just give my 2 cents before we get deep into it. I'm just going to say I can't tell the difference. So there's that thought. Christian McCaffrey secured the bag. And my man, his pockets are rolling deep. If you run into him on the streets, just maybe bump up him and be like, hey, big man, let me hold $1. All right, and just see maybe if he'll put one in your pocket. If not, that's okay, but he worked hard for that, but he did get paid. We'll talk about the Christian McCaffrey deal and how that affects the Carolina Panthers going forward. NFL Draft, we are officially only a week away from NFL Draft coming up, so that is getting ready to heat up. I know most people are doing a bunch of their mock drafts. They've been doing mock drafts essentially for months. But now you can do more mock drafts and maybe get them a little bit more precise. Teams are starting to kind of give little inklings, show their hand a little bit which way they want to go, and they're probably listening a little bit more to possibly moving around in the draft. So we might be having to consider some trades as well. And there's a lot more we can talk about. We've also got a special Mount Rushmore that we have not done before on this show. We'll be doing later on as well. So again, welcome to all of our listeners. Hunter Yancey here, Zac Mayhue across from me, and Kevin Hastings will be in here in just a minute. He's finishing up some work behind the glass back there. We're all ready for sports. I think everybody is essentially that way. So the only thing really that's happening right now is they're reaching for some sort of sports content. And essentially, I'll just throw ESPN under the bus. I don't ever want to click on ESPN and see that their opening headline is Clayton Kershaw is waiting for baseball.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Will he run out of time? Well, let me tell you what, ESPN. We're all waiting for baseball.
What does that even mean?
Well, I don't know what that means.
What does that mean?
We're all waiting for baseball. We're all waiting for some kind of sport. That's all of us.
He's running out of time.
Will he run out of time? I don't know. I haven't read the article. I haven't. But I'm just telling you.
I just skimmed through it.
I'm just telling you that opening that if that's your attention grabber, you lost me. Because we're all in his position. Don't act like Clayton Kershaw is a special case because he's waiting for baseball. I know all baseball players are waiting for it. By God, we're waiting for it as well. And so the other one, like when you click on the link, it goes into, as Clayton Kershaw waits for baseball to return, a look at his family, legacy, and future. Okay. I mean, he hasn't won a World Series. I mean, he usually gets bounced and beat whenever he pitches in the world in his whether it's a playoff. So
Cardinals are not afraid of Clayton Kershaw.
Yes, I mean his
we hope y'all. His
curveball doesn't scare anybody really anymore. I mean, he's still dangerous. Don't get me wrong, but nobody's really scared of him.
So he's still that regular season pitcher. When he gets to postseason, for some reason he kind of clams up.
I mean. It's flip-flopped the Madison Bumgarner effect. Bumgarner might not be the best regular season pitcher. When it comes postseason time, I mean, he's throwing game on and he's putting heat down the pipe. I guess to me, though, like what I was getting at with that is just ESPN. We're all waiting for sports, okay? And that's what I meant by as well. Like they're reaching for some sort of content to put out there. They're just writing about anything. We're all waiting for sports at this point. Don't try and pass this off as a great article. It's something that should be a headline. I don't know. I mean, maybe something a little bit more. A guy's given to charity or something, like that. Not this. I look at Clayton Kershaw's family, legacy, and his future. Like, what? I had to get that out. When I clicked on that because this is how we of course get some ideas for topics to talk about today and what's happening because we aren't so connected in inner circles of every sports team in America, but. When I saw that, I was like, dude, you got to be kidding me. Wright Thompson, senior writer. Wright Thompson. Right? Should have scrapped it.
So while we're in baseball, Hunter.
Should have scrapped it.
I wanted to bring up...
well, now everybody can see Zach in his throwback 80s.
I'm going to do... everybody's running super deals on like MLB Shop, so I loaded up while they were running these good deals.
Andre was late for work today because he was waiting on a shipment he had to sign for. He had to sign for something. He's like, I'm going to be a little late today.
Yeah.
No, they can't deliver it at any other time.
They just drop mine off. I don't do a signing thing. So, but I've got some things that's going to come out each week. I got some cool stuff coming in. I got a Tony Gwynn Padres shirt. I got Stan the Man Musial coming.
Okay.
And Ken Griffey Jr., which is my all-time favorite player.
Right.
I got a couple of those coming in.
I like some of the shirts or jerseys that are from movies.
Rocky, stuff like that.
Forrest Gump shirt, jersey. The jersey shirts.
I haven't seen that.
They got some at different stores and things. And one of my favorite ones that I ever found, had a Willie Beeman one.
Oh yeah,
from Any Given Sunday, and just the Miami Sharks for Hunter.
Yeah.
He wants a Sharks team.
I do want a Sharks team.
And then, it was a Willie Beeman one. I thought that was pretty cool. They had they had a couple Space Jams. They've had trying to think some of these other guys. The Forrest Gump one was pretty neat. If I wasn't an Alabama fan and that color wasn't atrocious, might have bought that one. That was good.
I'm paying attention. I'm working on trying to get us a guest.
Get us a guest today?
Not today.
Oh, okay.
Not today. Not today. Unless he just wanted to randomly call in, but no, not today.
Right, and folks, we've got pretty much everything set up now, Hunter, to where our guest can Skype in, or I was thinking about having you help me out a little bit, maybe do some Google Places or people or whatever you do for video for that, maybe get more than one if we need to. With the off time, we're gonna start making some contacts and try to talk to some folks and get some different opinions. Today, hold on, I'm gonna have to cough real quick. Not cough, clear my throat.
No, God, COVID.
Clear my throat.
Get out.
I could have either hallelujah in front of everyone, or on the
get out
on the thing, or try to cough that out.
You've put me and Zach in danger.
I have.
I've been coughing. It's the allergies. It's killing me.
I'm the same way. And see, I felt bad because what was it the other day? I was going to I think it was just the grocery store, and in the back of my mind, I was seriously like, man, I cannot cough right now. Because if I do, I will get run out of here by an angry mob because I'm not wearing a mask or nothing. And it's not it. It's just allergies. So I'm sitting there, and if a cough's coming up, I look like I'm kind of choking on myself, just trying to keep it down. And I'm like, man, I'm not trying to get run out of here.
So I was went to get food for the kids and everybody. And now let me rephrase it. I went to get ice cream for the kids and us.
Yeah.
At a place they've got real food too. It's just not an ice cream store. Mm-hmm. So there was 2 different lines. So I go in there, and there's only one person in front of me, elderly fella. He had his mask on. He was just sitting to the side, out of everybody's way. I went up and ordered. And after I ordered, I noticed, I was like, well, where should I stand or whatever? And I was like, well, I'm just going to stand here next to the counter. And I don't know if I'm supposed to be standing next to like the utensils and everything that's sitting here next to me. I couldn't back up because the old fella was there. And then right when they were about done, they were working on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And I heard someone come in behind me, and it was a group of 4, 2 couples come in together. Yeah. And so I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, what just happened a minute ago starts building up in my throat.
Oh God! You're like, man.
So I'm sitting there like, hurry up with the food, hurry up with the food. Yeah. I'm trying not to I'm sitting here basically with a loogie in my throat,
right?
And if someone talks to me, I won't be able to talk. Like, I have a mouth, I have basically a throat full of loogie, and I'm just like, hurry up. Yeah. Then the girl, they don't have point of sales like fancy stuff, it's all kids, calculator and paper. And so I'm standing there in line, trying not to cough, people right behind me, and this lady's messing up her calculations on her paper. So yeah, I know exactly how you feel trying to worry about that a little bit. I was like, oh God, don't cough. And I walked outside, and I went, talked to loogie, big old loogie in the bushes.
I don't blame you, man.
We've got a lot of things to talk about today. Wouldn't think so, but Christian McCaffrey's big contract, I heard you guys mention that earlier, what that means for the Panthers, McCaffrey, and the rest of the league. American Legion Baseball, I'm going to get to that in just a second. Here in North Carolina, just had some news yesterday. Tom, I don't know if he's going to make it in or if he's just watching and listening online today. I think he's having...
I can't see what it says, though.
He wanted to know about David Clowney and the Cleveland Browns, if that was going to be... an option. Here's the latest according to ESPN. It's believed around the league the Browns had gotten the closest to landing Clowney. Matthew Berry wouldn't confirm or deny the report instead of saying or whoever Berry is for them.
Matthew Berry.
I don't know if that's who they're talking about. They must be talking to someone else. Sorry. He said Clowney is a good football player, and we're going to be aggressive in adding talent to the roster. We're going to make sure there's an opportunity to upgrade the team. There's one thing between upgrading the team. There's one thing giving someone $15 million.
Yeah.
Every time you give someone that type of money, that's basically, 2 to 4 players you can't sign because of that money. And that's the thing the Panthers are going to be looking at too, Zach, paying a running back like that. Yeah. If the Browns decide to go that way. I'm up for anything the Browns do as far as improving their defense. Yeah. If they got plenty of cap room, and I think they do, I think they got the first or second most cap room. So maybe it is in the play for them to bring in Clowney and not really. Maybe it won't affect it too much. It was Andrew Berry responding to the Browns.
Okay, so I was going to say it's not Matthew Berry.
That was 5 days ago.
With the Browns, I know we was fixing to go to baseball. But with the Browns, they said that. They got a right tackle in the offseason, and they're targeting a left tackle in the draft. They picked 10th. Mm-hmm. And they were saying that Clowney originally wanted $20 million a year.
It's down to like 15 or 16 now, isn't it?
And he's 17 to 18, 15, 16. So, I mean, that's not a bad price for an elite pass rusher.
Seahawks offered him 1 year, 15.
Yeah. He's looking for a multi-year. If they could offer him 3 years at 15 to 17 million a year, he'd probably take it. And
I just don't know if he's worth that. Like, it's almost kind of like in the NBA, you need a point per $1 million. If you're not getting a sack per $1 million, from Clowney, it's like with a running back, you might be using some money in a different.
Unless you want to redirect it and say, is he opening up where they can't double team, the other side.
That's exactly what I would have said. To me, if you make the move for Myles Garrett, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, you make the move for Myles Garrett. Let me set that up to where I want to say it. You make that move for Myles Garrett because it takes the pressure off of Myles to be the lone guy that gets after the quarterback.
Maybe they're thinking this is a situation like the Denver Broncos where you could put Miller and Ware on both ends, and you know the Giants and their Super Bowls.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes 110% sense to me.
It's hard to block that.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem. And
anytime you got to double team one person and leave everyone else in man, that's what you're looking for as a defensive coordinator, is trying to put them in that situation. The Browns, I would like to see. You know, they have the receivers, they have the running backs. I mean, what do they need? Line and defense. Yeah. So if you sign Clowney, and your first draft pick is that tackle, so then that means you're sitting there in the second round with the 10th pick in the draft in the second round.
You can still get a starter.
Almost all your positions are full except maybe some defenders. So
I think they need depth at linebacker.
The Browns could definitely go. I think Tom mentioned that the other day. As far as the linebacker hunter, I think they could go. You know, tackle from Georgia or Wilfs. I was watching they did a mock draft, live mock draft yesterday on one of the shows, and Simmons fell to Carolina in that draft, and then the Browns picked the tackle from Georgia. Is who
Andrew
they went.
Thomas.
Yeah, is who they went with. And so I'm thinking, you know, Hunter, if they can, those two moves really, Tom. I mean, if they draft the tackle, sign Clowney, the rest of the draft is pretty much gravy on as far as the roster goes, is putting together, hey, let's improve our defense the rest of the way. All 5 picks on defense, that's fine to me. Looking at the Bengals, people were talking, you know, I've been looking at, you seen the Andy Dalton throwing in the backyard through that pizza box, basically.
Yeah, damn accurate.
If how many times would it take Cam to make 5 of those? He was 5 for 5.
Look, I'm just gonna be honest. They are professional quarterbacks for a reason, and from that distance, they might be able. I would expect them to hit that, but I'm gonna say
no way.
I'm gonna say this. He had some zip on that ball. I think Andy Dalton can still play. The problem is
him throwing it through that hole is harder than having zip on the ball. The fact of the matter is he didn't miss one.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying what I saw was what I noticed more than just the accuracy is that, I mean, he still got the arm strength. They didn't call him the red rifle for nothing.
They played until they're 40 anyway.
You think Belichick's wanting that?
Here's what I think with him is, if he would have played anywhere other than the Bengals, they would people be all over, because I don't think he's been a bad quarterback at all.
I agree that people would be all over him. I think as well too, Zach. I mean, think about it, if you're really the Bengals, and this is. If you're another organization besides the Bengals and you got a quarterback there, isn't the point of drafting, say you draft Andy in the first round, isn't the point to build around him?
Yeah. Well, they drafted him in the second round.
Well, second round. A lot of these teams, as soon as they get as soon as they get a chance, i.e. Cowboys, to put in the young quarterback, is like, and what Roethlisberger was mad about them drafting Mason Rudolph is the fact, if you're drafting a quarterback, that means you're not improving the team. And
that's the same boat that the Packers could be swimming down. I know we're not trying to get into draft talk right now, but the Packers have sat there and said that they've thought about taking a quarterback in the first round with their later pick. It's like that would make your team. That would make Aaron Rodgers hillaciously mad.
Wouldn't you? I mean, if I'm a quarterback and my team drafts a quarterback in the first 3 rounds, maybe even in the 4th, I would say I want to trade. Because what are we waiting for? Well, if you're Big Ben and Aaron Rodgers and they draft a quarterback in the 1st or 2nd round, that means you didn't get a starter to help your team win the championship. Are we trying to win the championship, or are we not trying to win the championship? With those old guys, to me, you're trying to win the championship.
Well, if you're the Browns,
sell out for those guys. I don't think they should ever be. How often are teams preparing for the future, and that's their excuse for all their moves?
We're preparing for the future. It's like eventually you got to just say we're here for the now. Yeah. But if you're the Browns, though, sticking with what Tom asked, though, and you're a Browns fan, obviously, do you make the move? If you can get him for the price, Clowney, do you make the move?
I would.
Because I'm telling you, if he's if he's not a sack machine, and I agree with that. If he's not going to kill you on the cap, and just because he's not a sack machine doesn't mean that they're not going to take a lot of pressure off.
Like if you're going to spend the money, if you're going to get 2 guys, or you're going to get 1 elite guy, and it goes back to if you're going to spend the same amount of money. And you want to protect Myles
Garrett. And you're not losing any picks. You're just losing money at this point because he's a free agent.
Tom asked another question. I can't see it up there behind. I don't know why I can't.
I just saw that he said they have the most cap space in the league.
Okay.
Well, there you go. I was actually going to look up some of the cap space for them.
And then, you talk about Aaron Rodgers a minute ago. He can't. If they draft a quarterback in the first round, he can't say a thing. They had Brett Favre and drafted him, and he said so.
Yeah, to me, Jadeveon Clowney would definitely be a marquee free agent acquisition if you can get him for the price that kind of fits his skill set, because we know what he can be. Jadeveon Clowney can get in the backfield and create havoc. But does he do it every play? No, not really.
And then
if you're Cleveland, you already have a guy that can get in the backfield and wreak havoc, and Myles Garrett. So it's kind of like pick your poison. Which one do you want getting back there? You want Clowney getting back there, or do you want Myles Garrett getting back there?
You got an amount of money to spend right now to win the championship with Mayfield being on the rookie deal still.
Y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, he has 32 sacks in 75 games.
Right.
I mean, to me, it's not worth the money. I think he's more hype than great. I think he's good. I don't think he's great.
I'd agree with that.
I don't know if I'm.
Yeah, but who's your other defensive end? And you could almost do a comp. It's like outside of Myles Garrett, who right now is your cornerstone staple franchise player on the defensive side of the ball. Who's
Don't they have a really good cornerback too?
Yeah, they have a very good.
They just drafted one last year.
Denzel Ward, he's very good. He's very good. So they've got the secondary is decent.
And that's what you're saying about linebacker.
I'd much rather have great linebackers than great defensive ends. I can get by with good defensive ends, but if you got great linebackers,
what's your formation on they're in the 4-3? Well, then it wouldn't hurt you to have two great edge rushers, right? Because I think that's the move we're making at two.
I just worried about the money. I'm just worried about the money. It's like with McCaffrey. Yeah. Like, are you arguing he's good enough to play? Yeah, but are you arguing is it worth the 16 or 15
How many years
million?
are you thinking about signing him though? Because if you only get him for like 2 years,
Clowney.
Yeah.
Oh,
if it's a 3-year deal, it's essentially 1 to 2.
Yeah,
that's the way they do it. So if they
could do a 3-year deal, third-year option, player or team option. So essentially 2 years, third-year team option. See if they want to keep you or not. I think that would be perfectly fine if you're Cleveland. And at this point, why not? You already have been labeled probably the best offensive threat in the league. They
got the most cap space. It's $40 million at cap. Dolphins 2 at 34, Detroit 29. Eagles 26, Colts 25, Skins at 24.
Yeah, we have some money. We made some moves to clear up some money.
Didn't Rivera just say y'all tried to get somebody that couldn't? As a big name, y'all tried to sign.
We tried to get Amari Cooper, and we offered him more money than Dallas did.
Y'all tried to get Cooper.
But he went back to Dallas, which I'm fine with.
He can make that money back up in endorsements because he's a Cowboy versus a Redskin. I mean,
and to me, I'm fine with that.
And but I think he's from that area down there.
If we're talking Cleveland, I mean, to me,
surprisingly that Philadelphia's got that much cap space.
I think Cleveland, to me, that would be a smart move, was to get Jadeveon Clowney. And of course, I don't work in front offices, so don't quote me in saying that I'm the smartest person ever. But to me,
right in the middle of
is that after 17. Spending?
That's right now, $12 million.
Yeah, that's updated.
That's after dropping all that money on CMC.
I'm just saying, like, if you're Cleveland. And
is that after?
Yeah.
And McCaffrey? you can take some of the pressure off of Myles Garrett. I mean, it's perfect. Because that defense is set up to where your two defensive ends are your edge rushers. It's not the 3-4 where you have outside linebacker / edge.
I think Kevin mentioned this too. Like, they could get him. They've already signed the right tackle. They could draft a left tackle in the first, and they can draft a linebacker in the second round.
That's exactly right.
I think that's a good model.
And if they do that, they would spend about 20 something million, and 20 million of that.
And you got to think about who you're playing against in your own division
of that space.
On that first round, first round and second round pick.
The first and second round pick added together will probably be close to 25 million total.
Yeah.
On them, so maybe you're looking at 20, still with 20 million, close to 20 million left in cap space after.
You got to look at it like this, too. The division that the Cleveland Browns play in, if you can have two good speed edge rushers, you can help contain Lamar Jackson. Because you can kind of keep him on the edge, and they can run with him left or right. Don't let Clowney fool you. Just because he doesn't have the high numbers, he can still run fast. All right. I mean, he went out there and blazed a 4.4 for a reason. And then you can get after the ever old and statuesque that has Ben Roethlisberger with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then you got the young gun coming in, Joe Burrow. So it's like, why would you not have probably one of the most hellacious pass rushes in just that division alone?
Too bad they couldn't find Joe Thomas again.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they talk about. They're going to draft another left tackle named Thomas.
Why not?
Well, that first one was a quitter.
Oh God! Let's not start that, Kevin. You know he played more than 10 years.
Oh yeah, he did.
He was drafted in 07.
He played more than 10 years.
Joe Thomas?
Mm-hmm.
He's drafted.
He played, I think, 11 or 12.
So looking at their
uniforms.
Let's look at the Browns. I'm going to back into something here, Hunter.
He was a 10-year.
Tom, to answer your question, Hunter thinks it would be a smart idea. Kevin is just worried about the money.
I'm just on the fence about the money. If he would take $8 million, I'd say do it.
I don't have a problem spending that if it's a 3-year deal when you can pop it back to 2, because like I was telling Hunter, they've gotten a lot of money to spend anyway, and Baker's on a rookie deal.
Mm-hmm.
So the money that they spend to try to win the championship now is going to be on pieces, and he's the best piece that they can find to plug in at this point.
Right. All right, so looking at the Browns' new uniforms, it looks like a combo of the new ones that they just had and some of the older ones they had just previously before it. So there's not really nothing new. I mean, for the most part.
That's why I said I couldn't tell the difference. I couldn't at all.
All right.
I can now because they don't have anything written on their chest.
All right, so that's the newest ones had Cleveland written across their chest. They had orange pants as well. What I'm trying to show everybody here to the right is the ones that they kind of made them look like. Is these brown ones here?
Hopefully that's not Tim Couch running them out.
Number 6.
That looks like Derek Anderson.
No, that's a.
Joe Thomas is beside him.
Brian Hoyer.
Is that Brian Hoyer?
I thought he was 2 when he was there. I don't know. They've had so many quarterbacks, man. We could just keep naming them, and eventually we'd be right.
So to me, what they did was that they took that old jersey that Joe Thomas and them wore there and combined it with the new helmets with the brown face mask to end up with this guy whenever it comes up. So you still got the brown face mask. So I think they took it's a combination of the two is really kind of what it is. They've got brown on white, white on white, white on brown, and brown on brown.
The ones that look the best to me, white on white, brown on brown. Those are the ones that look best to me. White on white, brown on brown.
I don't like the brown on brown.
You don't like them? I like them.
A lot of the color rushes I'm not fans of. The brown on brown, you got to think, it just looks like a big
turd.
Mr. Hanky running down
the
field. There's just not enough orange on it. Think about if that was an orange uniform.
Listen, man. No. I'm going to say this. If they had orange pants with that, I'd love it even more.
Yeah.
To me, I feel like they don't embrace the orange nearly as much. I know they're called the Browns, but I just don't feel like they embrace the orange enough. That burnt orange look, I think it's nice. I think it's one of the better colors used in the NFL because it is different. It's not your red, white, and blue that most teams usually run with. So I like it.
This one.
Yes. Yeah, so maybe say
orange. I like the orange. See, there's your all brown and all orange.
I like the orange. If you would have put maybe like orange pants with it, or just instead of doing the all browns jersey, just doing all orange top, orange bottom, I'd have been fine with it, 100%. I'd have been fine with it. But I don't know.
I don't like the words all over the last ones. They've done away with that. It looks
the two in the center, we know those are just classics. They don't look anything new or old to me. It looks like what a Browns uniform is going to look like.
The NFL uniforms will get hot once if this year's if the rule goes through that they can do their second helmets.
All right, yeah.
I
would like the teams to be able to use the throwbacks. That shouldn't be that shouldn't be a big issue. And then 2, what if the teams actually did have a second helmet or something like the Browns? Like, why do they have stripes? And you know how we was talking the other day, like how I like them to incorporate something. What if instead of stripes down the sides, you had like paw pals? I mean, paw pals, dog paw logos or something like that, or dog bones. How about some bones as stripes or something like that, or instead of stripes on the side, the dog bones or something. Incorporate that somehow. But other than that, I mean, I don't think they're bad. They're just the same old Browns to me. It looks like, except with a brown face mask. They went back to the past with a brown face mask. To me, is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, out of all of the new uniforms that they've shown, these to me were the least awe-inspiring.
The Falcons went XFL style.
They did. Tampa Bay
gradient.
Tampa Bay literally went. They really did the homage to the past.
Tampa and Browns did the exact same thing. They did the older uniforms from 10 years ago,
kind of modernized,
and then but still used the new helmet. So they kept the helmets like they were pretty much, and then switched over to that. All right. So Zach, looking at the Panthers, I'm not gonna say his rule trying to win, this year, but what do you think their goal is as far as or how they putting together this team to move forward with Coach Rule and the gang, and what do you think they're gonna? I mean, if you sign a running back to $16 million, his comments before a few weeks ago said you don't pay running backs. Then they paid McCaffrey, and now he says, well, he's not a running back, he's a weapon. And Zach, my point through the years with Cam and Vic and any of these running quarterbacks, same with Lamar Jackson, it's not how you run, it's when you run. It's how you scramble. If you scramble to throw the pass, you're going to be better than if you scramble to just run the ball. And so with the Panthers the past few years, their best assets were the quarterback running and the wide receiver catching it. And those two specific things are usually last case scenarios. For example, if you drop a play, Zach, the quarterback running is usually not your first option.
Right.
If you drop a play, a swing pass to the running back is usually not your first option. But the past few years, that's been their first options. They've started off hot. It's been tough for teams to be like, are they really just checking down every play? Right. And most teams, most defenses, you're set up to keep things in front of you.
Yeah.
If they check to the running back, we're good. But the Panthers we're going to check the running back first. And I don't know if that's an actual winning strategy to feed a running back because every pass he catches, to me, that's like your worst option on a pass instead of hitting your receivers downfield and pressuring the defense. The defense would much rather come up. They would let McCaffrey get 150 yards receiving a game if the other receivers didn't get anything, because that means you're tackling in front all the game. If he breaks one, but you're tackling in front of him. So what do you see as far as the Panthers, how they setting their offense up and moving forward with this into the draft?
Like I said, that's basically what they were doing is dropping a swing pass off to McCaffrey, and then kind of like him being on a punt return, he's just trying to make people miss. Mm-hmm. They've got Teddy Bridgewater now. They've got McCaffrey signed to richest running back deal ever. I mean, he just topped Zeke. I don't think they went total rebuild is what I'm thinking in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like they're spending money. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to put all this stuff together, because he's got a lot of wide receivers that do the exact same thing. If you've watched us, it's Curtis Samuel, DJ Moore. Everybody kind of is the exact same wide receiver.
Technically,
we did get the guy from the Jets.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson. And he can take the top off.
I think that's their key, because if you ever remember when we were in that really good season, I think it was 2015, went to the Super Bowl. The one thing that I think helped us the most was Ted Ginn Jr. He couldn't catch to save his life. He had rock hands, but what he would do is he would spread the defense out deep. Mm-hmm. You had the opportunity for Cam to throw deep.
Then Olsen tore up the underneath.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And we don't have that tight end right now to do that. But we'll see what they're going to. I'm interested to see who they draft.
I think Christian McCaffrey is just as dangerous if they were to line him up as a slot receiver than just have a running back. Could you imagine having an offensive personnel set up to where Christian McCaffrey is one of your slot receivers and you still have a running back that can come in and fill that spot, like out of the shotgun position?
If you put
him got a guy to your right, and then you can keep McCaffrey on the field and put him out as a slot receiver, because essentially he's just as good at catching the ball as any running back in the league.
If you put him on Tampa Bay right now, he would be Julian Edelman for them.
McCaffrey.
Yeah. He could be just like Julian Edelman was for Brady with the Patriots. So I'm interested to see what they do with this pick. I know we've talked about the guy that
Derek Brown.
Yeah, that they're just enamored with, and I'm hearing Isaiah Hicks, I believe.
Isaiah Simmons.
Hicks.
Hicks played basketball.
Yeah, I know. Isaiah Simmons.
yeah.
He should stay. Isaiah Simmons. I'm hearing both of those names. I don't think Simmons will fall that far.
I don't think he does either.
I won't be upset if he does. Mm-hmm. But they're also saying that Okudah could possibly fall, because they're thinking some trades might come in with Detroit and Miami, I believe it is. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I believe it's Miami is really – no, I'm sorry, the Chargers in Detroit. The Chargers are really wanting Justin Herbert from what they're saying.
It's going to – look, the Panthers sitting at 7 and the Browns at 10. the fact the Panthers already got Bridgewater, I think is good for you guys because that means you can pick a Simmons or Brown. And if you are picking a Simmons or Brown, and same with the Browns, they could be in positions to be picking the best player at a position. As opposed to the second or third best tackle or the second or third best defensive lineman.
No, you're right.
They could be picking the
said
best.
Yep. And I mentioned it Monday because, what was it? Barnwell had a whole thing where he listed
it was all trades.
All trades. It was all trades. And one of them that he brought up was, there was the possibility of the Cowboys moving up, trading with the Dolphins, and getting to it. But here's the thing. And I said, well, first of all, that's kind of a desperation move because that's moving up for a quarterback. Somebody's going to do it, though. I'm not going to sit here and say it's the Cowboys, but somebody's going to move up to get Tua, or they're going to move up to get Love or Herbert. That's exactly what's going to happen. So, to what Kevin's saying is 100% true. You still are in a prime opportunity
to get the best
player at their position. Absolutely. Because somebody's going to move up and get one of the second or third best quarterbacks. Now, I don't think it's the Cowboys. I'm not sitting here saying, but somebody's going to do it.
We could still drop and pop a left tackle. We could take the left tackle before the Browns get it.
Well, it just depends. It just depends on what you want. What you want to build.
They could go in the first 15
It just depends on what Matt Rule really wants to build. Now, let me just get to the point with you, Zach. The new coaches,
real quick, pick linemen though with their first pick?
Sometimes
they like to pick the sexier pick.
Right. Let's pick our lineman in the third round when nobody knows their name.
Listen, do you like the contract for McCaffrey? Just flat out, do you like it?
If I wasn't a McCaffrey fan, I would hate it. Is that fair to say?
Fine,
that's easy to say.
If it was another team and I was looking at the Chargers doing it for him, I'm like, I wouldn't have done it for Melvin Gordon. Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
And I think they're a similar player with McCaffrey being a little better. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have given Melvin Gordon the money. They didn't. Mm-hmm. And it's not.
They didn't even. Here's the thing. Melvin Gordon just wanted a little bit over $10 million.
I think he wound up getting 8 now. But
I know. I'm just saying.
You're right. I understand.
I'm just saying the Chargers wouldn't pay him $10 million, and the Panthers just gave Christian McCaffrey $16 a year.
Yeah. If I wasn't a Panther fan, he wasn't a fan favorite. I would say it's a horrible deal, and it's probably going to wind up hurting us.
Here's your list of NFL running backs for pay by pay. McCaffrey 16, Zeke 15, Le'Veon 13, David Johnson 13, Derrick Henry 10, Kenyon Drake 8.5, Melvin Gordon 8. Saquon Barkley 7.7, Leonard Fournette 6.7, and Austin Eckler at 6. So, Zach, for the price of Christian McCaffrey, you could sign Todd Gurley, Duke Johnson, and Mark Ingram. Todd Gurley, Jordan Howard, Giovanni. Any of the 3 people. I'm just gonna start naming people. You can add these 3 together, and you could sign 3 of them for the price of McCaffrey. Gurley, Johnson, Mark Ingram, Jordan Howard, Giovanni Bernard, Tevin Coleman, James White, Latavius Murray, Kareem Hunt, Perry Williams, Adrian Peterson, Nick Chubb. You could get every running back in the league except the top 10. You can get 3 of them.
Yeah, what I would have done
for that same price.
I would have packaged Cam and McCaffrey to Chicago for whatever picks that they wanted to load on us, and then I would have signed Melvin Gordon
for $8 million.
Yep.
Teddy Bridgewater and Melvin Gordon still not a bad duo to have in the backfield.
That of all the off season, that's my favorite thing that they done. I like Teddy Bridgewater.
The owners in sports have an issue of re-signing. Do you re-sign your fan favorites, or do you do things like Zach just said and do smart GM stuff? So if you're playing, and I like to look at it this way: if I'm playing Madden, do I care one bit about Christian McCaffrey or the fans' feelings? I make the trade that you just said. I'm going to trade everybody.
Chicago wouldn't have been a good draft.
Well, just
anyone. Chicago they would not have been a good trade partner because every first round pick and second round pick they have for the next 2 years is owned by the Raiders
because of the Mac. I would have found somebody to combo. Would the Chargers give up something? You know what I'm saying to get CMC and
I don't know, man. It's just here's the thing. What you say. Or what you have in your mind and what Panthers fans have in their mind as the worth for Christian McCaffrey, do other teams see that? That's the problem that you're going to run into. Is because just because Christian McCaffrey does everything great in this offense that really is 110% tailor-made to him, is he going to work and fit somewhere else? And I'm not saying Christian McCaffrey is not a bad player. I think he's a great player. I think he's a top 5, if not the top 2 or number 1 best running back in the league right now, just with the skill set that he has. But for that money, that's what I'm saying. If you were to try and package that deal, that's the same thing that people are saying with Cam Newton. Think about it. Yeah, Panthers fans, not saying you, but just Panthers fans, they look and say, he's a former MVP. He made the Super Bowl. Why doesn't he have a job right now? The same thing would have been if you wanted to try and package deal Christian McCaffrey and Cam Newton. Another team's got to look at that and say, well, I really don't value as much as you think that package deal is. You might be asking me for like first and second round picks for this year and next year. But that to me, it's really not as enticing as you think it is.
If I was for sure that I could have got Melvin Gordon, which I think is a similar type player, because he can catch really well, he runs really well. If I was for sure I could get him, and you could move McCaffrey and get, we need players, and I would rather have more players right now because you're not winning the division this year.
You know why they haven't put in the official salaries have not been put in these calculations yet, because they haven't officially signed the contracts yet and put into play.
So now we're over the salary cap by signing him.
Probably looking at this is salary cap spending by position. McCaffrey alone is the fourth highest paid running back position in the NFL. So what I mean is the Rams are spending $20 million on running backs. The Jets 18, the Texans 16.6, and there's McCaffrey will be right on that 16 number. So he is fourth. Christian McCaffrey is paid more than not only every running back in the league, but every running back group in the league except for the Rams, Jets, and Texans. So that's what you got. That's how much money you guys are putting into that.
The Rams still owe money to Todd Gurley.
That's where
that's going from. Yeah, he's not even there, and they still owe him that money.
What's the Texans paying?
That David
Johnson, $13 million. They just traded.
Oh yeah, that's right. They slid him in with Duke Johnson. I believe they still got Duke Johnson.
So he's got $13 million of that $16 million.
David Johnson's not bad either. The only problem is he just can't stay healthy. That's the only problem.
So yeah, Zach, how do you think about that? The McCaffrey is getting paid more than every other running back group, but 3 teams.
I like my deal better.
Do you guys need to get a backup to him to spell him on certain plays and downs?
Oh, 100%.
You're gonna have to.
You have to. You probably have to draft.
I thought we let the guy go that I thought I would have played more, and then he went to the Rams and bowled over everybody. From Denver.
Yeah, I know.
C.J. Anderson. I liked him.
To me, no,
Zach, get him in offense.
Zach, 100%. This was a fan favorite move. That's what the front office just did right now. Because they knew moving off of Cam right now, there was huge division in their fan loyalty, and if people were even going to come to games this year.
If
100%.
you don't re-sign McCaffrey, Hunter is 100% right, is that would fans come / what jersey are you going to sell to the fans? Are they Cam Newton fans that are not buying Bridgewater jerseys?
No.
I will have a Teddy Bridgewater jersey.
But Cam Newton
I might wear it in here. As soon as it comes out, I'll have it in here.
I want to
because they don't have anybody really with the marketability that they have. Okay. They don't have.
I want someone to get me a Armani Edwards Panthers jersey. We can't get one.
You just need to do
Joe Webb.
Just make one.
Take the.
But I know it's just as expensive. But in all seriousness, like they don't have anybody else on that team marketability wise. They can just throw out there and be like, "This is the new face."
DJ what jersey Moore, are you going to buy?
But even then, no. DJ Moore to me has not established that he's really a great wide receiver. He's a good wide receiver, but to me, he's not like. What Cam was able to do, what Christian was able to do, and what Luke Kuechly was able to do for years is, well, now that Christian's doing it, is be one of the top 5, if not the best in your position at one time. You can sell that. You can sell that easily. Oh, Luke Kuechly, best middle linebacker in the league. Guess what? We can sell that to our fans.
Here's a couple of some rumors real quick. This is Ian Rappaport reporting on some things that are coming through the wire of teams maybe trading, moving around. Just some basic, just small info. Cowboys looking at Jalen Hurts, by the way.
That's been going around, and you know what? With all the stuff that's going on,
let that go and sign him,
I don't think that's
or draft him.
I mean, you're going to be under a rookie contract for 3 more years.
I'll tell you what,
that's big. People you just don't realize how good you can make your defense if they
go Jalen Hurts' route. You've said this for years, and I've agreed with you, Kevin. Is this they honestly got to have similar playing styles. Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott. So to me, it would be like you wouldn't have to switch up the offense at all.
Pretty much the same player to me.
Would Miami trade?
I think Dak's better than Jalen right now.
Would Miami trade the number 3 pick for Dak straight up?
They don't have the 3rd pick. That's
Is it
the
4th, 5th?
Fifth pick.
But you're still going to get one of the quarterbacks,
right?
Right.
If you want to stay in the rookie deal, would they trade? That's my question.
Would they? The only rumor I have heard about Miami doing anything trade-wise is to move up.
Hey,
not move down.
Jaguars are also interested in Tua.
They're picking
Jaguars and Dolphins both interested
Jags,
in Tua.
I thought were like at 9th.
Falcons have been interviewing players expected to be taken in the top 10. Multiple GMs expect the Falcons to be big movers up into the top 10 for this draft. That's what he just said. Let's see, where's that? It actually said something about Julio.
And that was a good move for them.
It was 2011 when they moved up for Julio Jones. Mel Kiper ripped that pick, by the way.
Imagine.
Because he said Julio couldn't catch, which he's kind of right.
Imagine.
But
you can't catch him if he does.
T.O. was the same. T.O. is the same.
Did he not burn... Who was our wide receiver? Our corner. He burnt our cornerback. He hit us for like 270 or something.
Says Julio Jones can burn any cornerback. I want people to remember that. Julio Jones, just because Atlanta has not had any success, I'm just saying Julio Jones can burn any cornerback. At his size and the speed he runs, he can burn anybody.
Falcons like C.J. Henderson.
Who?
Jags like cornerbacks. I mean, Falcons really like cornerback C.J. Henderson.
Florida.
No, the Jaguars are picking 9th. So you're right about that one.
Yeah.
So you said they were looking for they might still hit a quarterback in this
listen
draft.
To me.
Joe Judge. Who's Joe Judge?
Joe Judge is the new head coach of the New York Giants.
All right. He just told reporters that he has a golden retriever that sits on the couch next to him in his basement about 15 hours a day. And right now, she could tell you guys more about who we're going to draft than anyone else.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer.
He's going to give you sound bites. He's already said they're all playing for their position on the team, like Saquon Barkley believes that.
Look, to me, the 110% pick that is up in the air about who's going to have it is the 3rd pick.
Well, and
1 and 2 to me, 1 and 2 are solidified. Cincinnati, I don't think is moving. Washington's not moving. Detroit is the one that might be moving.
Well, they don't want a quarterback, and that's where throwing the Chargers in. The Chargers are wanting, and it's surprising because they should still be able to get Tua or Herbert at their spot, but they're wanting Herbert, so they're saying they might move up to 3. They're talking about giving up a cornerback and 2 draft picks. I think that's too much for me.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't give that up if I could get two on top, either one. Oh, and what's the Love still there too?
I don't like my team moving up at all unless you're competing for a Super Bowl and you need a stud at a certain spot.
Sometimes you give up more than what you get, and that's the problem.
Right. To me, you look at your team, you say, well, we have 5-7 weaknesses. Well, you only have 4, 5, 6 draft picks.
Washington is the one that can preach that the hardest. We gave up so much to take that 2nd pick away from St. Louis to draft RG3. Mm-hmm. He gets hurt after 2 seasons, and we're out of all these picks.
5, 6
and they picked a starting quarterback. What was he, 2nd or 3rd
Cousins
round?
Picked in the same round. Same draft.
They picked him 3rd or 4th round.
And look at him. About the Redskins now. The Redskins are picking 2, and I would say trade out of that pick if Chase Young if he wasn't as good as they think. They said this is the best player in the last 5 or 6 years that's coming out. So they need players.
He had better numbers at the defensive end position at Ohio State, and Nick and Joey Bosa both played at Ohio State.
Yeah, that's what they were talking about yesterday. It's ridiculous.
To me, Washington is set at 2. Joe Burrow is set at Joe Burrow. Yes, he is set at 1 with Cincinnati. The one that has the most flexibility just on what they're going to do is Detroit. And the main reason why is because Matt Patricia is coaching for his job, really. That front office is coaching for their jobs right now because they brought him in thinking that the Patriot way maybe was going to come with him and they were going to find success. He's this great defensive coordinator for the Patriots. Is it going to be able to translate here in Detroit? And guess what? It absolutely has not.
And I don't know. Detroit's kind of like Cleveland. I mean, not Cleveland, Cincinnati. You know, they're in Cleveland until a certain point. They're just out in.
So to me, Detroit, I could see them seriously with as many holes as they have on the defensive aspect, being like, look, we really don't need a quarterback. I know a lot of you are about to fight tooth and nail for this quarterback. We will trade back for more than just one.
They're either getting the Dolphins or the Chargers up. And it's according to what the rumors are based on who's getting picked.
I'm telling you right now. I don't think, seriously, I'm going to say it now, I don't think the Dolphins move from 5.
I don't see why they would have to if they want Tua.
I don't see them moving up from 5.
Tua might go second, though. I mean, not second overall, but second quarterback off the board.
That's what I agree. But even then, I've been on this show multiple times, and on Saturday morning, I've been telling you guys I'm not sold on Tua. So you can take Justin Herbert or Jordan Love in front of Tua to me, and I'm fine with it. I'm 100% fine with it. The reason I'm sold
on Tua, if he's healthy, is because he's so accurate. You can't teach accuracy.
Well, you can work on it.
You can practice it.
You can work on it.
But he's got it. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what else you can't teach? You can't teach size, and you can't teach if your body can be more durable than it. Well, technically, I guess you could, because Tom Brady and LeBron James have done it for years. But I'm just saying, to me, you can't teach that size that Joe Burrow, Jordan Love, and Justin Herbert all have. Tua is just over 6 foot tall. He's a left-handed quarterback. I don't know how many coaches are in love with left-handed quarterbacks anymore. He might be deadly accurate, but he can't play a full season. And I've been saying it, and I'm going to just keep repeating it until people tell me you're a broken record and you got to stop. If you're hurt in college, you're going to be hurt in the pros. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. You're playing against great college players, but now you're playing against every great college team's best player in the pros. You're playing against the whole team of college all-stars.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's what it is. So to me, that third pick is up for grabs, and I think the Dolphins are building something great. They got a lot of picks, but I don't move up for it. I don't.
They were talking about Herbert too. They were talking about his record and his stats versus the elite teams, and that's why everybody's looking at him. They said he's NFL ready right now. He was 3-1 last year against elite teams, and they said one play away from being 4-0. So,
oh yeah, no, he was. It was the game. It was the opening game against Auburn. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was the SEC team.
Absolutely, it was against Auburn. He played fantastic. He really did. Bo Nix, who was the freshman quarterback for Auburn, I didn't think he was really going to be doing much, but he came out there and played one hell of a game as well. So Oregon really just let that one slip out of their grasp because they were winning for a long time. What happens in this draft quarterback-wise is going to set up a lot of other teams for some success. I'm just going to be 100% honest with you. The only one that I could see benefiting from taking a quarterback early and see like maybe initial benefits would be the Chargers because their team as a whole is so set. They were just plagued with injuries last year and 20 interceptions thrown by Phillip Rivers.
And what's throwing some of these draft picks? You get to the Giants, and they're saying Isaiah Simmons. They're going defensive, side.
But to me, I'm
hoping.
I like
Okudah. I really would hope he'd fall to us. I really do.
If he falls to you, then that's great.
That's my pick. If I want anybody, I want Okudah.
The two safest picks, I think, within the first 5 to 6 picks is Chase Young. I think he's easily the safest pick, and then Jeff Okudah.
And Simmons is good. Simmons is good. I'm gonna say he's a level below him.
The knock that I have heard on Isaiah Simmons is that coaches right now don't know what to do with him. If you draft him, what position does he play? Is he outside linebacker? Is he outside linebacker or is he a safety? Which one are you playing him at?
I saw the guy on TV said the Panthers should take Simmons just because of what you just said, Hunter, is that they have no idea who's playing anywhere else.
Yeah.
And they might as well put him in there, and then he can just fill holes. They kind of did that a few years ago. Was it Shaq Thompson or something like that? They kind of did that with.
They did that with the defense. Well,
around.
Shaq Thompson moved
Dallas did that with Byron Jones
outside linebacker, DE, kind of. But he's just got so much speed.
The other people were making the point that they were 31st in rush defense and scoring defense. You've got to be able to stop the run, and Simmons isn't a run stopping linebacker. He's more of a, like you said, an athlete. I'm going to get around in coverage type athlete. So the Panthers, maybe that's what you're looking at, is you got to stop the run. You just can't let teams run down your throat.
You got to do that, but the 3 quarterbacks in your division can throw the ball all over the yard. So Isaiah Simmons or Jeff Okudah wouldn't hurt at all.
As long as Marty Hurney don't trade up in the draft to get Everett Brown again, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this.
Marty Hurney.
I think
you gotta fire him.
I think this is going to be an interesting draft.
I can't believe he kept his job with new.
I can't either.
With new owners.
I can't either.
I think this is an interesting draft just because the question marks outside of the top 2 quarterbacks is where it's at. Nobody knows who's going to move up to take which one of the other 2 quarterbacks. They could go in the first round. And then just with so many offensive tackles that can go in the top 10, you guys are sitting here saying the Giants really need to go defense. I'm opposite, man. I think they really need to.
Line.
I think they need to solidify that offensive line and protect Daniel Jones and assure that Saquon Barkley doesn't have to be Magic Man every time he gets the ball and jig and jive his way all around the offensive line. If they had a secure offensive line for the New York Giants, I think they're golden.
I would go for, and this is my opinion. I think you can get it's an offensive line deep in this one. I think you can get them. You can get one in the second round. I would go with the strong because you've got.
But you're sitting there. You're sitting there at the 4 spot though. You could get the best left tackle in the draft.
But you're in a division
and get another linebacker. You're in a
division that's got Dak, and you're in a division that's got
Carson Wentz.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to get some pressure on those guys, and you need somebody that can stop the run too.
All right, guys.
Time to roll off that probably.
Any other news and notes on the NFL?
No, I mean your draft is still planned, so I'm just.
Is
looking
it Thursday
or
Wednesday?
It's next week.
I know it's next week.
It's the 25th. No, 23rd.
23rd through 25th.
Next Thursday.
Yep, next Thursday. Starts the 23rd, will end Saturday, the 25th. Okay. I'm interested to see what they do with their picks. I'm interested to see what Kansas City does with their picks. You know why? Because they returned 90% of their Super Bowl team this year.
I think they have a hangover.
You know what they should do?
I don't know. I doubt they have a hangover. To me, that's the only team I'm sitting here saying there will be no Super Bowl hangover.
They should trade all their picks this year except their first 2 for picks next year.
Why not?
What's the point of having them this year? If you return 90% of your starters,
90% of your starters,
pick 2 studs, trade everything else
because they were able to work out the Sammy Watkins deal.
At some point, you're going to start losing your good players for contracts.
Because
the more picks you have in the future,
that offense is the same.
Have they had to pay Mahomes yet?
No,
did he get his? That's
not yet.
And we're on that rookie contract that we keep talking about.
I thought he did get paid.
Not yet.
Because Dak was asking for more than Mahomes.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Mahomes has not gotten paid.
It's going to be ridiculous.
Patrick Mahomes has not gotten paid because that would have broken the internet. Yeah. We would have talked about that before now. Okay. So I think because Mahomes came out the year after Zac.
Mahomes was transition tagged. He'll get $24 million this year.
Okay. So regardless, next year we'll be talking about how he's probably a $50 million man.
All right. Couple of things I wanted to get to today. So this is WWE XFL related. XFL cancels the season, says no 21, and in fact, all within the last few days, really. Tom sent that to me, and my response to Tom was not too surprising. / the reason is that Vince McMahon is not going to let the WWE fail and fold through this. So anything outside of that is your first cuts.
He had been saying they had no ties together. Now we're finding out that WWE had stake in XFL.
Right. So the XFL files Chapter 11 bankruptcy. It says the bankruptcy filing revealed the WWE owned 23% of the shares. They list between 10 to 50 million in liabilities, and the same in assets, and the league owes about 14 million to its 25 largest creditors, including one of his head coaches, Bob Stoops. The league reportedly lost tens of millions in revenue due to canceling the season, is what they say. The first week of games averaged 3 million, and it was at 1.1 during the last week. The reason I kind of wanted to get into that is not only that, so they've also announced that the XFL actually has legs, Hunter, still.
Yeah,
it is for sale.
It's for sale.
So they're not. If it's them going to run it, they're going to shut it down. But they are putting it out there for sale. And I want to give you guys an estimate to how
much are they asking for it?
Well, Vince put $500 million up to begin with. I don't see how much they're asking for. So I just went with that.
Can't quite get a loan for that.
I just went. You is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I don't think I could get a loan for that.
If you're going to make it up, back up. I mean, I don't know why you couldn't get the loan from anybody.
You'd have to be able to show them that we're going to make this money back up. So, because I would 100% go for it because I think it's good.
If we go at $500 million to run the XFL, let's just say that's the flat cost. We don't know exactly the exact numbers. Let's say that's the flat cost. It costs $500 million for a season in the NFL. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Harvard. We talked their endowment the other day.
Oh yeah, we did. They could buy that multiple times.
You ready for how many times?
Okay.
72 years.
They could own the XFL for 72
Harvard
years.
Could buy the XFL, put it out there for 72 straight years, and not lose a dime, Hunter. And wait a minute, that's without selling a single ticket, a single T-shirt, a single jersey, a single beer, a single anything. Harvard, not all the Ivy League schools, not all the schools in America. Harvard alone, with their endowment, could buy the NFL or pay for an XFL season for 72 years.
What is endowment money even for? I've been totally confused. Like, I was looking it up the other day trying to get an exact, like, textbook definition of what endowment money is, and I really couldn't find one that was a definitive enough.
It's basically money in the bank for the college.
Sounds like a lot of money.
Oh,
They have 30
billion.
They have 34 billion. No, 32 billion.
Yeah.
30. No, it was coming at 72, so it was like 36 billion. Is their endowment?
Endowments represent money or other financial assets that are donated to universities or colleges and are meant to be invested to grow the principal and provide additional income for future investing and expenditures. So essentially, it's money that the university can dip into to build buildings.
UNC Charlotte has 200 million is their endowment. That's it. Harvard's is 30-some billion with a B, and that's what I meant by it. They could buy the XFL for 72 years.
Who are the people that are donating?
Think about
to
how
this?
much more money they have than Vince McMahon has if they can do it for 72 years and not lose it and not really lose money. And then Vince,
I think what happened with the XFL is it was the perfect storm with what happened with the coronavirus.
That's exactly right.
They were doing well. People liked it. I think NFL will take some of their ideas again. And the reason they filed bankruptcy is because what's happening with this coronavirus has affected WWE so much, and they're hurt too.
They just announced they released 5 wrestlers and have furloughed some workers. The company tweeted had come to terms on the release of Drake Maverick, Kurt Hawkins, Carl Anderson, EC3, and Leo Rush. So they released them. What has happened, though, Zach, is they've got the governor of Florida to name the WWE. And did you believe, if I told you this 25 years ago, or a year ago, or any of you, if I told any of y'all that the WWE would deemed an essential business in Florida, you guys, we'd all laugh at it, and people still laugh at it now. But, of course, they're making the point, and they're trying to. And the Florida governor is trying to work with some of these guys. Now, there's ties with him as far as campaign money, maybe, with McMahon's. And basically, if they name it essential, it doesn't break their deal with Fox, and they can renegotiate with Fox. So it's kind of, help us deal with Fox, more of anything type of a deal it looks like. So the essential businesses, so DeSantis is he also mentioned he wants Florida to be the home of golf and NASCAR to get back going. So
Daytona.
Right. They got Homestead too. So they've got 2 spots that they could race in Florida.
And then golf courses everywhere.
And golf courses everywhere.
Everywhere.
You can play at Mar-a-Lago if you want to, the pro event. But so that's kind of what is leading into that. So the WWE is tied into a lot of this stuff. They got 3 shows per week. That they're doing or have been doing. I don't know exactly. It says they're going to run live shows without fans after several weeks of taped programming is what their plan is at this point. So, Zach, there's your WWE, XFL, all of it tied together. And I think Vince McMahon's number one priority is keeping the WWE alive no matter what, as opposed to he's not going to put another $500 million into football.
No.
And you don't know what's about to come out of it again. So I think that was the issue this year, is that you're right, Hunter, that coronavirus and canceling the season, it wiped out probably some of the revenues that they were going to get, which would have extended them. See, you want Vince McMahon to put up that 500. You don't want him to put up any more.
Right.
You want him to make that back is what that is. And that's my thing with Harvard. And we sit here with Terry every Saturday and him talking about don't pay the kids. And I just made a point that Harvard alone, not Duke, NC State, or any of the other football schools or anyone else you want to talk about, Harvard alone could buy the XFL themselves for 72 years. And then we'll turn around and say, well, they couldn't survive. Well, maybe Harvard give up. Why would you donate? You just talk about the donations.
Yeah,
why would you donate to Harvard?
That's what I was sitting there. I was reading. It was like their donations. What's this money?
Why would you
endowment
donate
money is donated? And I'm like, why?
Why would you donate to them?
I mean, I understand boosters would donate
There's
some money, but
nothing
I'm
you can donate to them that
they don't already have.
That they don't already have, or it would affect the school one.
That's what I don't understand. I'm like,
people would donate $100 million to Harvard instead of to the community schools that would need it. Like I said, UNC Charlotte's only got $200 million in the bank, and that's another thing, Zach. When we're talking about paying the players between UNC Charlotte and Harvard, who's going to pay more for Zion Williamson to come play? I bet they'd love to sell some Zion Williamson t-shirts.
I'm telling you though, if you went to paying the players, you'd have to cap it. You'd have to put a cap.
Nah, I don't care about it.
Yeah, you'd have to.
I don't care.
Kevin's talked about this before. Here's how I would
pay them all they want, and then the coaches, then you could watch on TV Calipari, Roy, Kay, all of them retire and quit as in whining because they're not the ones paying the players under the table now instead of over the table. Go ahead, Zach. I'm sorry.
I would. Maybe I'm thinking more on the lines of Hunter. I would give them, and it is a salary cap. I would give them. Here's your money. You can spend it anyway. It's kind of like when I watch Andre do that. Is it FanDuel thing? You got to find money to put your team together. I'm not familiar with it because I ain't never done it.
Yeah.
But I watch him and he's like, I got this much money to spend, and if I want the best one, I can take him and I can fill my buy with the least, or you can buy a bunch of decent players.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I would do it as. But
to me, it would be if you cap every football team in America. Then and the way it would work, if any of them get caught paying under the table, kid loses because he would have had to accept the money as well. The kid loses his eligibility, and the school gets fined, or they lose roster spots, or whatever the penalty would be. But if you put a salary cap on it and say every school gets, I'm not going to do anything outrageous. Say they get $1 million, and that's your salary cap for your football program, and you got to be able to get players and divvy up that $1 million. And whatever you divvy it up, thinking on who you want to be, and it's the same exact thing that you said Andre did. If you want the best player in the nation, well, guess what? You might have to give him $250,000 to $300,000 of that $1 million we're going to allocate you. But that means everybody else that you bring on. That means everybody else you bring on. Hey, that's right. 1 to 2. Our little ranking system. 1 to 2 star athletes are coming in. You're 1 to 2 star players.
But if you're Harvard, you're already getting them. If you're Harvard, you're already getting the 1 and 2, so you like the rule. Be like, all right, I'm going to pay Joe Burrow.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm going to pay $900,000.
But exactly that. But then that brings it on these coaching staffs to actually have to work and say, look,
or be better coaches because everybody's team.
But I don't like the salary cap because the little schools and private schools will then be able to outspend Alabama and everybody because Alabama's still going to get a lot of the guys, but also. I don't think the bigger schools are going to be as good because of that. Because then Vanderbilt will be able to be like, well, I tell you what, we'll pay the left tackle $500,000,
which I think is better that way.
What I'm saying, Hunter, without a salary cap, I don't mind the salary cap that much.
Right.
What I'm saying is that without it though, then you allow the kids to be paid even more, and that also will take away the Alabamas. And those
this still technically can take away the Alabama because Nick Saban, you have to look at it like this, or not Nick Saban. I heard it was the best. They said it best about Dabo Swinney. Dabo Swinney coming up was a special teams coach, but now what has he become? People want to say he's the best head coach in the United States. Now, he's the best recruiter in the United States. He gets the top players to commit to him.
I think the recruiting's different.
It's different. It's about recruiting. So now it's like recruiting.
What did Roy say this year? We ain't very good.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
He didn't say the coaching around here just got terrible this year.
Yeah, and I agree.
We suck. I can't call play for nothing.
That's what I'm saying. So to me, that would take down the Alabamas and the Clemsons because just because you can recruit the best players doesn't mean you can afford all of them.
Think about that. You're talking about Roy and
unless the kids are willing to just take pay cuts just to play underneath you.
Just say this. Okay, so you're telling me, and I know we're off base on this comment, but Roy still had, with the players that he had, if you would put those players on a mid-major team.
They probably would have been pretty good.
If you let them go to Gonzaga or whatever, could he not coach them up and made them a lot better? That's just my opinion. I might be wrong about that.
But see, that's what I'm getting at is, people say it all the time. It's like, how good are these players? How good is Alabama really coaching wise if they don't get the 4 to 5 star athletes every year?
Has Roy or Krzyzewski or Saban ever coached up and won with a bad roster? No. And the Saban people, I'm sorry, he went to Miami and failed and chose Culpepper. He chose Culpepper over Breeze. So
he did.
And he quit. So
he said he wasn't going back to college.
And the people sitting call him the greatest ever, and I'm like, no, if you're the greatest, you do it at Duke. Like if Saban thinks he's the best and he thinks it's everybody's fair, if everything's
wise, you do it at Duke.
If everything's fair, why don't you come coach at Duke? Why don't you come coach at Wake Forest or NC State or Vanderbilt? You're coaching at Alabama,
right? You're gonna get the best players.
Come on,
it's one of the most historic college football teams there was because it was Bear Bryant
right,
before
Dabo.
you.
Come on, Dabo, come North Carolina.
Now look, Dabo did something good because Clemson for years was not a powerhouse in football.
They had won a national championship before.
Yeah.
They were a football team. They're a football team.
Yeah, they're a football school.
It's not like you went to North Carolina.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, but it's not like Alabama and Clemson. You know what I'm saying? Like the prestige that was around the name. Even then, people were talking about South Carolina before they would mention Clemson because Steve Spurrier was there.
Yeah.
So,
I can't believe
I think Dabo's done a good job, but to me, that's where I think
how if you're so bad in Washington?
Well, no, that too. But if you're Steve Spurrier and you won the Heisman and championships at Florida. I'm gonna go coach the chickens in the middle of South Carolina on the concrete jungle.
I guess just
SEC teams.
Yeah, I guess just what I'm getting at, salary cap in college football would be, I think it would essentially even the playing field. It really would. Now, whether or not those kids decide they want to take a pay cut instead of being the highest paid on another team to go play for an Alabama or Clemson,
I think it would be hilarious to see Saban pull his hair out when Harvard pays Tua, or who's their best defensive player?
I don't know
this year.
I can't remember.
Let's say Tua. Let's say Harvard pays.
Harvard gone for so long.
Harvard pays. Think about it. Harvard could pay any of the college kids more than any of the NFL players, without blinking an eye.
I want you to think about this.
Tua, we're going to give you $20 million this year.
It essentially turned him into Notre Dame of the late '80s and early '90s.
Hunter, okay, we're worried about. They talk about the kids and blah blah blah. How about they just make the rule? What do you think about this one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Instead of 3 years out of college, just say under 21. You can pay them whatever you want. And then just make that the rule. As opposed to certain years out of college as far as the NFL. I'm trying to figure out.
Do you know what's crazy to me though? I just thought about it for this draft when you mentioned Nick Saban and you asked me who their best defensive player was. You do realize that for years we've always said Alabama is a defensive powerhouse and they just produce NFL talent on the defensive side of the ball. The players that are being talked about the most being high draft picks this year out of Alabama are offensive players.
I think their 5 stars were bust.
Quarterback, wide receiver, offensive lineman, wide receiver. And then the fifth one that we talk about is the cornerback out of there. And that's Diggs' brother, Trevon. That's it. Other than that, the defense that Alabama has produced this past season really wasn't that great.
Right.
I mean, they let Joe Burrow hang like 50 on them. So, as great of a defensive powerhouse that Alabama has been, I just connected the dots. The 5 players that we're really talking about, the first 4, quarterback, offensive lineman, wide receiver, or wide receiver, offensive line, wide receiver, however you want them going.
Well, they got beat. When they get beat, I guess their defense isn't that good.
That's what I was fixing to say. I said they didn't win a national championship this year, so defense wins championships. What I was thinking.
I'm just saying.
What do we got on here today? Is Tom going?
Something else on my fuzzy.
I don't know. Saban said he wanted Breeze, but Miami wouldn't medically clear him.
$8 million. He was talking about Jadeveon clowning.
Tom's just in. He
might be taking whatever somebody gives him because ain't nobody signed him yet.
Well, that's another thing. Like, what can Cam Newton say?
Yeah, I mean he's a backup. He's coming as a backup, and he's not getting paid.
Unless the Chargers or Dolphins are bringing him in.
Cam Newton's camp came out and said that they're willing to wait for a starting position.
It ain't happening.
So 2021?
Maybe. Or they're out until after the draft. If somebody doesn't get the quarterback that they want and they need a stopgap.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Just that's what his camp has come out and said.
They ain't got no other choice.
They don't have the XFL dissolved. I mean he has no other choice. Was he going to go play in the CFL? I mean, people make fun of the CFL so bad. I mean,
I did see some fans online worrying.
He might be going to work for Good Burger.
Zach's gonna see what Zach thinks about this. They're worrying that the Saints are going to sign him and make him play the Taysom Hill role.
Hell no. They've handed Taysom Hill on a platter.
I'm more scared of Drew Brees any day.
Yeah, they're handed Taysom Hill on a platter the starting
well, they're
Saints
talking
job
about for
when
Brees retires next year. He's already signed a preliminary deal with NBC.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's got one more. If this is it, and this is the last run for Brees.
I think
Taysom
this is
gonna be
it.
the starter there.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think this is it for Brees. I think this is the. I think
thought
this
he
is
was
the
done
year.
last year.
I think this is the year.
Maybe he goes to the Falcons and backs up Matt Ryan because he's from Atlanta.
So I saw a video of him yesterday trying to round up his kids. You see that on Twitter?
No.
He's got 2 little ones, Zach.
Talking about Matt Ryan?
Yeah, 1 maybe less than 1, 2 at the top, and he was calling out pass routes, and they weren't running them. They weren't running them at all. They had no help. Zach, one of the wrestlers cut was Kurt Angle. Was actually signed. I honestly didn't even know if he was really involved at all anymore.
He hadn't.
Seeing the training stuff and helping with that.
He was actually being the acting general manager, coming out and doing some talking segments, but that was it. He did 1 wrestling match, and that was it.
Okay. So over in American Legion Action Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna basically kind of read through this article for you folks online, kind of follow along for the most part. This is from Joe Hughes, buddy over at the Gaston Gazette. See him around at all the ball games and everything and around. He did the reporting on the Legion decisions and things, and I'm not not that against the decisions. I'm kind of against the timing.
Yeah.
The Legion baseball don't begin till June. Like the first pitch isn't until June. Tryouts aren't until 1st of June or late May, and we haven't even got to the month of May. Right. So the American Legion World Series went ahead and canceled their tournament, and so we're sitting here looking, Hunter, at they had a meeting for the North Carolina tournament the other day. The North Carolina Air Force Commissioner sent a recommendation to the executive committee asking any decision be delayed until after Roy Cooper's office provided new guidance, the stay-at-home order through April 29th, with the schools closed through May 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Bobby Dale Reynolds says making the decision too soon to cancel the season is a sour pill to take. Coach Reynolds loves baseball of any kind. He said he saw tweets about other states choosing to wait in regard to their season, among being New York, South Carolina, waiting till mid-May to see what the outlook is, which I agree more on that timeline than anything. We didn't cancel the state basketball tournament until 2 days before.
Right.
It happened.
So it has been canceled.
Yes. So for some reason, the state chose to jump the gun early. This Coach Reynolds still talking awfully early. Maybe it was because several other programs outside of baseball, one of them being Boys State, that made them say we're going to go across the board. He's talking about the American Legion system altogether. Is that the American Legion across the board was going to go with this decision? He said, I don't know, but I can say I'm disappointed, and my kids are disappointed. So, Joel went on to say, having lost the American Legion World Series, it undercuts summer locally in a big way. I didn't know this, and I'm excited about it, but now I'm not, because it's not going to happen. Kings Mountain was supposed to host the state Legion tournament. Now, I don't know the logistics of that. I'll tell you the logistics as far as broadcasting. There's no air conditioning in the press box at Kings Mountain. They're going to hold this tournament in August. I don't know where they're going to put, where they were planning on putting the Legionnaires and tents and where else. Mm-hmm. The parking is kind of weird. There's plenty of parking. You just park on both sides of the stadium. That's the thing. And also, would the media have been using that press box, or would that have been for Legion folks? I had a lot of questions for that. There's almost no seating there as well. So I don't know if they were going to bring in extra seating. Just all kinds of questions that I had. But I was seeing that. It made me excited for a minute. And then I was like, oh, never mind. They're not actually having it.
Why would they have it over? I mean, Shelby's got everything. They built that.
Well, people put in different bids and things like that. They may have a rule or something about the World Series not being able to host it. And the girls, Shelby was supposed to host the girls, Zach, over at Cleveland Community College. Over at Yeti Field, Hunter.
Yeti.
At Cleveland Community College. I wonder if it is called Yeti Field, or if do Yetis have nests or anything like that?
Dude, I don't know. God almighty.
I thought you were my Bigfoot expert.
No.
Do I need to pull Jose back out onto the show?
Yeah, you're going to have to pull
Did you see Jose's tweet the other day, Zach, to A-Rod?
No, I did not.
Do you know about them?
No.
He's accusing A-Rod of sleeping with his wife.
Who's Jose?
Canseco.
Oh, yeah. I'm familiar with that. I'm familiar with that.
So he tweeted on Sunday, Happy Easter to everyone but Alex Rodriguez. And then the next day he tweeted at J-Lo, said, hey, J-Lo, I got some stories for you.
Yeah.
You can talk to my ex-wife or my wife if you want to. Here, give us a call. He's like all open about it, like trying to put him out about it. And,
did hear a thing about A-Rod a couple weeks ago where, and it might have been us talking in here where he wanted to be the shortstop so bad for the Yankees, and Jeter was, and they didn't really get along that well.
Well, he was better than Jeter.
Yeah.
And you're going to break all the Yankees fans' hearts, but if this was any other team, they would have traded Jeter and put A-Rod at short and then filled in at third with Jeter. But no, they ended up having a worse defense by putting A-Rod at third instead of shortstop. See, playing both myself, my favorite position is playing shortstop. Third base is nothing but reaction. Most balls kind of hit right at you. My worst ball to field, Zach, was that ball hit right at me and I didn't have to move my feet. If I move my feet, even if it's right at me, I almost like to kind of circle it, move a little bit, charge it, do something. But anytime you're standing still and reacting, that gives you a chance to miss things. And I can see how someone who's never played third having issues with that. And he was tall.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
You've got to get low at third base because you don't know where that ball's coming off so hot down the line.
And a lot of times it's coming at you, plus going on the out of bounds line. Yeah,
and he's big, and you'd think, well, he's a big boy playing short. Well, Cal Ripken Jr. Was too as well. I actually think I have a stat. Here you go. I got a Cal Ripken stat for you, Hunter.
Ooh.
Oh, let me finish with the Legion tournament.
Sorry.
Shelby Legion tournament. The ladies softball tournament was supposed to be in Shelby as well for the state. So what they're trying to do, despite the news, American Legion Post statewide are looking to play, even if it's a non-affiliated type thing. So Coach Reynolds may be the leader, Zach, of putting together some type of a state Legion tournament. Some folks poo-pooed why even play the state, and I'm like, well, we play the state in high school sports. Why? I don't know why that would be such an issue for to not plan it. Here's some more from Coach Reynolds. We'd like to play, but any decision on that is at least 8 weeks away. I know looking around our area, we could have interest from anywhere between 10 to 17 teams. If we can start in mid-June or July and play until the start of August, that would be our best-case scenario. But all that depends on how the pandemic plays out as well as things shake out in terms of a stay-at-home order and social distancing. Hopefully the curve will flatten out and our players are safe and taken care of. So there's the comments on that. I made the comment to Philip, Zach. I think they got 12 teams in Florida. In Area 4, we have 18 teams. In Area 4 of North Carolina, there's 18 teams. So winning Area 4, and so when people say, why would you even play the state? Because winning the state of North Carolina is harder than winning the World Series for almost every state in, let's call it the union or country, however you want to say it. To win Area 4, you got to win 4 series to win Area 4. Then to get to the World Series, you got to win the state, then the regional to get the World Series. If other teams only have 12 teams in their area, they don't have to win nearly close as that. All right, Hunter, ready for your old-timey baseball stats?
Old-timey baseball stats.
Tweets of the day.
Yeah.
During Cal Ripken's streak, Zach, Cal Ripken faced both Gaylord Perry and Bartolo Colon. Perry made his debut in 1962 when JFK was president, and Colon pitched in the majors up until 2018 with Trump as president. So Cal Ripken faced a pitcher from every presidency since JFK.
Jeez.
Well, that was during his streak. That doesn't count before the streak. He faced pitchers from every presidential administration since JFK was shot. That's insane. All right, I got one for you, Zach. How about Bob Gibson? 1968.
Yeah.
12 starts. 12 complete games, 12 wins.
Under 1 ERA.
8 shutouts.
What was his ERA? 0.88?
Oh, wait. The total run score on him for the year, Hunter, 6.
Yeah. Jeez.
They scored 6 runs on Bob Gibson in the whole year. And the last stat, 0 damn concerns about his pitch count. None, Hunter. No. I got a Nolan Ryan one in here somewhere I was trying to find about his pitch count, too, where he threw like 155 pitches with a bloody nose. And
well,
all that.
Well, I got something I'd like to bring up between you two gentlemen before probably we still have just a Mount Rushmore.
I got a Mount Rushmore. I've got I'm going to throw on you guys.
The only question I have for you, this was tweeted earlier today. Tonight was scheduled to be the final game of Vince Carter's career. So the only question I'm going to pose to you, is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's not even close.
Not even close. I agree with that.
Well, because
I think he's all
the Basketball Hall of Fame is nowhere like the NFL and baseball. NFL is Pro Football Hall of Fame, so XFL people are technically qualified for.
PJ Walker's getting in first MVP.
Right, they're qualified for Pro Football Hall of Fame, but the Basketball Hall of Fame is a Pro Basketball Hall of Fame too. But they almost let anybody in. Like if you were maybe All-Star time 4 times.
All right, well then let's do this. If it had the same criteria as maybe the NFL usually does and baseball, would he be a Hall of Famer?
He would probably be one of those ones like
makes maybe second on third ballot.
Baseball
that gets in, but not majority or first ballot because he didn't win a title, because we hold that to account in a lot of the other sports. So if he's a quarterback, he's basically in the Phillip Rivers,
Eli, man.
Tony Romo, maybe even Eli won. He's in the Dan Marino type range where you didn't win, but you're very, very, very damn good. He did win Olympic gold medals.
He did.
The fact, Hunter, he's probably the greatest dunker of all time.
Oh yeah.
So how do you not have him listed?
And he posterized the guy in the Olympics.
He jumped over a 7'3" guy in the Olympics. That was pretty. That's about the most. The only thing I don't like about that play is he had his hair.
Yeah.
He was growing his hair out that summer. He's bald in every other picture and every other thing in the world. And that summer he grew his hair.
Vince Carter, I mean, when you bring up the dunk contest, he's the first one you bring up. Everybody says, man, Vince Carter's dunk contest was fantastic. Man, it was crazy. You remember that? If you don't remember, go back and watch his highlights. And that's honest to God the only thing I wanted to ask, because if it is over, technically it would have been the last day of his NBA career. He played 20-plus seasons. You know, I mean, he's played for multiple teams. He was kind of a journeyman there at the end. But I just wanted to know your thoughts. Like, is he a Hall of Famer or not? To me, yeah, absolutely. Easily, he's a Hall of Famer. And then, of course, I know the NBA's criteria is a little bit different, but then if you wanted to put criteria on him, I could see him, if he's not first, he's still getting in. If he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, he's still getting in. So I think Vince Carter, I think he had a great career.
He did.
I think he had a great career, and I think it does suck, really, that that's a player you can look back at, like how people did with Dan Marino, and can say, man, he never was able to be on a title contending team. Really? As good as he was? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say he made all of his teammates better. I mean, but I could sit here and tell you he was damn good, and people just remember him for being nothing but, an athletic freak and dunking the ball. Vince Carter could shoot the ball, too. I mean, he had more to his game than just being able to go up and dunk the ball. So
if he didn't, he wouldn't have played 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I don't have any problem with Vince Carter.
Is that Ryan Sandberg, or is that...
That's not Ryan Sandberg. I'll back it up a little bit. Or try to, at least. There we go. That's Will Cordero.
Oh.
All right. What was you just talking about? Oh, did you see the Stackhouse comments?
About Jordan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Said he was better than Jordan when they played together. He didn't like playing with him. You remember Stackhouse was traded for Rip Hamilton. Stackhouse averaged 29 the year he was traded for Rip. Jordan told Rip he wasn't good enough to wear Jordans.
Right.
And Jordan basically wanted someone to be his second fiddle, and Stackhouse really wasn't. And they ended up getting Stackhouse in the trade, and Stack didn't match up. Just think about that Pistons team that won the championship. Mm-hmm. You could have had Stackhouse instead of Rip Hamilton and Carmelo instead of Darko.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
That could have been their starting lineup. Could have been.
But did you
Chauncey,
see
Stackhouse, Carmelo, Rashid, and Big?
Yeah, but wasn't it? Yeah, but I'm pretty sure
Stackhouse and Wallace back together, dude.
Yeah,
I would have been a Pistons
though,
fan so bad.
Rasheed Wallace came out and said though, even if they would have drafted Carmelo, they wouldn't. There's no guarantee they'd have won the championship.
That's true.
He said and I think it's just because he was basically saying he didn't fit the culture that we were playing. You know?
Yeah, I like
hard-nosed
Rasheed.
defense.
Rasheed's awesome.
So,
well, I wouldn't be. They wouldn't have had a problem with Jerry playing hard nosed. Now, whether or not, I mean, he's still a better defender than Rip Hamilton. I mean, Rip.
All Rip was doing was run off screen.
Oh, I was talking about Carmelo.
No. I'm just talking. Yeah, I'm talking. Well,
because
you're talking about Carmelo instead of Darko.
Yeah, because that's who Wallace.
Yes, they would have won it. What are they talking about? Because Darko didn't even play.
No,
if your team wins the championship without Darko, and then you bring in a guy he would probably score 15 to 20 that first year, maybe they do get 2. Now that's the question that you could argue if they get another one.
The question becomes now, though, does Melo come off the bench or does he start?
Oh, the first year he'd probably come off the bench. They were stacked.
Yeah,
stacked. Like they had Tayshaun was the starting small forward.
Yeah, Chauncey Billups was awesome. He just beat Trae Young in the horse competition.
Mm-hmm.
So Zach, I was telling Hunter on Monday. I kind of talked a little bit about this. You know the Harry Gant racing game we have that
I've seen it.
So what you do is you put the cars on the track, and it's got rules, but we lost the rules a long time ago, so we made up our own. You roll dice and you move the cars in each spot. It's a race car board game. Let me get over here my shot. There we go. It's a race card board game is really what it is. And so, So what I did, Zach, I let the kids for Easter, since you can't just get out and do whatever you want and buy whatever you want, go anywhere. Part of their present, they're in their Easter baskets. Since I collect these starting lineups, I went through my old ones of players that aren't any good.
Yeah.
So you buy a starting lineup back then. This guy might be an all-star, but it might be the only one he ever made, and things like that. So, and then they made some guys that weren't even all-stars and things like, why did that not focus on him?
It is not. It's an expo, so I'm thinking, is it not?
Oh, it's definitely an expo.
Yeah.
So, for example, I've got, and what I did, Zach, so we drew a baseball field on the field, and Dad used to have this game where you flip over playing cards, and each thing means something different. So a 3's a ground out to first, 4 second, third. So it's baseball.
I think we played that in the kids.
At some point we did. So anyway, me and the kids on Sunday decided to sit down and I drew out the baseball field. And what I did is I brought in 20 baseball players, of old baseball players, 10 in gray, 10 in white. And basically each one of them had a team. So that was their Easter present, was to open up these old starting lineups. Isabel got the white team, my son got the gray team. And then we played the games and we just moved the players on the field and stuff. So it's pretty fun. I'll put a picture on the screen one day of it. I took a picture, but I haven't got it load up. Pretty fun. Had fun with it. But what I was saying is, when they opened them up, I just had like a stack of in there, and I was like, show them to me before you do it, just in case I put one in there I wasn't supposed to. This is one of the ones that wasn't supposed to be opened because it's the only expo I have. So I didn't. And my son just looked. It wasn't his fault. I put it in the stack, but he had it to me. I was like, oh, you wasn't supposed to open that one. Because this is the only expo I had, and I wanted to display him. So Cordero is joining the show over there behind Zach here one day. I'll probably just go ahead and put him up there. There's Zach. Let's put him up there behind him. So Will Cordero will be right over Zach and Terry's shoulder there, standing next to Jose.
He did get a cool pose.
He got a great pose. Standing next to the Bigfoot hunter himself, Jose. Can you see Seiko? All right, Zach, real quick, let's do a Mount Rushmore of Montreal Expos players. Y'all excited about that? You excited about that?
Not really, because they were dissolved before I could even pay attention to baseball.
Have you ever seen the Expos before, Hunter?
It's funny. I told you I was looking on MLB Shop the other day for cool shirts to wear and stuff, and I was looking at throwbacks, and they were one of the teams that I was interested in buying because of the color.
Cool. I like their I
almost bought a Mike Schmidt Phillies baby blue with the P because it looks cool.
Right.
But I went with the baby blue Stan Musial instead. But I was thinking Expos when I was looking for throwbacks.
You can't
the
find
picture.
it. You can't find there's no new Expo stuff almost.
No.
But let me go through the list. Y'all get ready y'all might want to write some of these down because there's some big names. Gary Carter, Vladimir Guerrero, Pedro Martinez, Larry Walker, Moises Alou.
Now is this counting Rock?
No, this is Montreal Expos. Tim Raines, Randy Johnson, Marquise Grissom, Cliff Floyd, Delano DeShields, Jose Vidro, Jeff Reardon. Went through some of the other guys. Bill Stoneman, there you go. Levon Hernandez, Bartolo Colon, Will Cordero, Chad Cordero. Pete Rose made an appearance with the Expos.
That don't count.
Is he not on? There's a guy.
They just don't count.
Zach Carl Morton here is wearing an old Braves uniform for his Expo shot. Carl Morton. All right, so the greatest Expos, Zach.
You didn't even have the picture on there. Dennis Martinez.
Is
that right?
Dennis Martinez. You talk about Ramon?
No, I'm talking about the old picture back in the day. Pull him up. Dennis Martinez.
That's a good point. You kind of through like Eckersley, maybe a little bit.
Yeah. Dennis Martinez.
I got him. There you go.
Yeah. That's the only one that popped up in my head when you.
That was the first one. Yeah, he's the first one,
man.
And he wasn't even on
the one that's on mine easily is Pedro.
All right,
I'm a Vlad fan.
Listen,
I love Vladimir Guerrero.
Dennis Martinez, Zach, is 245 and 193 with a 3.70 ERA. 2,000 Ks.
Yeah.
4-time All-Star from Nicaragua. Dennis Martinez.
That surprised me. He's not up there. I love Vlad
So
Guerrero.
Hunter says Pedro.
I'm not saying Vlad until I see these other players. Where'd you get that at?
I just typed in Montreal Expos
Andre
players.
Dawson.
Yeah. I just talked in Montreal Expos players, and these are the ones that came up. Randy Johnson's on there, and Larry Walker.
I can't count that.
None of them count, Zach. They all got traded within
right. I'm saying
2 years.
Gary Carter's probably got to be on there. Andre Dawson. I mean, gosh, I remember him with Toronto more than anything else. But he is awesome. This is their ranking there.
You can put
Dawson's one.
I mean, you can put any
Carter's
other
2.
three.
I'm both with those.
Tim Raines. He made the Hall of Fame.
You can put any other three as long as I get Pedro.
You put it. The reason I brought this up.
He's a Red Sox for me.
See, that doesn't matter in this discussion.
I know.
In this discussion, all I want is the 4 greatest players who actually played in their totality. The 4 greatest players that actually played for the Montreal Expos. And I don't know about Gary Carter, but I'll go ahead and say I'll put Andre Dawson for Zach's.
Yeah, I'm good with that. He was one of my favorite players.
Hunter said Pedro.
I like to swing.
I have to put Randy Johnson in there.
Oh, he's awesome.
Because he's one of the greats. So that leaves us Gary Carter, Tim Rock Raines in the Hall of Fame, and Vladimir Guerrero. Dennis Martinez was ranked 6th on that list, Zach. Larry Walker just got into the Hall of Fame. He's 8th. So you got Hall of Fame Walker, Vladimir Guerrero, and Gary Carter. Gary Carter didn't make the Hall of Fame, did he? I don't think he did. You're sitting there looking at it.
I would think so. He's number 2 on their list.
I know.
Yeah. Was voted in the Hall of Fame in 03 with 78%.
Now, you could go with Rusty Stab. That's the
Bartolo Colon.
So who you got? Who y'all think? Let's give me your nomination for the 4th one. Vlad?
I'm a Vlad fan.
I'm fine with Vlad.
I love to watch.
He actually played some.
To watch swing the bat.
He actually played for some years for the team.
He had this huge bat.
His son's got a big bat too.
He does. I mean, the bat was like it looked like his bat was.
He played 8 years for
his bat was a telephone pole.
He played 8 years for the Expos. All right, guys. So we're gonna go with.
I wouldn't consider him an Expo, but yeah.
Vlad played.
I don't think anybody considers any of these players Expos, but they were there.
I consider Andre Dawson something.
Gary Carter's the only Expo.
Pedro Martinez, I can agree with 100%. He's a Red Sox. He'd forever be Boston Red Sox.
All right, so our Mount Rushmore of Montreal Expos is Pedro, Andre Dawson, Randy Johnson, and Vladimir Guerrero. And we were trying to pick the greatest careers ever for these guys. And I went with Randy Johnson. I know his career was more somewhere else, but it's just fascinating. Yeah, I don't know any other team, Zach, where you can just say, let me look at all the guys who come up to the majors and then got traded like 2 or 3 years later, and it's just nothing but these just all these guys. Like, you can go down this list and name where else they played.
Yeah.
So Andre Dawson, Cubs; Gary Carter, Mets; Rock Raines, White Sox; Vlad, Angels. Steve Rogers, I don't know.
So they could
Dennis Martinez, I remember there.
But they could just
Larry Walker, Colorado; Pedro, Boston.
Oh man.
Randy Johnson, all those places that he played. I figured it out.
They were a farm league.
They basically were. Marquise Grissom. No, a lot that they used to talk about that a lot, Zach, is that these teams would is that they were an American League farm system, and these teams would just trade for them. Andres Galarrago in Colorado. We didn't even mention him. The big cat could crush the ball. Yeah. So there's a lot of expos that ended up somewhere else, and that's why I kind of didn't want to restrict it to expo career as somewhere else.
Funny thing is about Andre Dawson, it says he finally got in the Hall of Fame on his 9th year of eligibility.
Yeah.
And he's the number one there on the list. I did like him for Toronto. He played for the Cubs and Toronto.
All right. Well, any other news and notes, guys?
I think that's
anything else?
For me, that's it.
Well, folks, I want you guys to tune in on our podcast, wherever you can find podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you go. Also, rewatch us on Facebook. Please share and like to your friends. If you miss a segment or miss something, just share it and tag. Say, hey, they talked about this. They talked about that. Maybe give us
some Mount Rushmore ideas.
Do what?
Maybe give us some Mount Rushmore
ideas.
Any
more Mount Rushmore? Yeah. Any of that. We're going to do the best. We're going to still be on Mondays and Wednesdays for this particular podcast. Hunter and I also do Saturdays with Terry Reinhardt and Tom Cinefani, and eat some breakfast brought to us by Mitchum's Kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
And that's always enjoyable. So tune in on Mondays and Wednesdays at 2, Saturdays 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And Hunter, as always, if you can't find or if you can't catch us live,
the
replays and the that I just called it podcast. Jeez, the podcast are able to listen to at all times. We just put some new Mount Rushmore artwork for us guys today. I wanted us showing that off a little bit for the folks out there. Hunter, let's see if I can. I'm gonna have to go into your.
I did find it.
Probably.
I'm gonna have to go into Hunter's Facebook page.
If you missed us live, you can rewatch it on Facebook. You can rewatch it on our YouTube channel. Or you can listen to it on podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts.
Zach, I was sitting here thinking, about since we do this so much, let's put together a little artwork for the folks at home and show them there's the Mount Rushmore of the shock jocks. We got Kevin Washington Hastings. Zach, is it Zachary?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. It's Zachary Jefferson Mayhue. I wrote that down. I was like, I haven't called you or seen your name written in so long, I couldn't remember. Thomas Roosevelt Centofonte. And last but not least, Hunter Abraham Yancey.
Yes. There we go.
I got Hunter's goatee, Zach, going right into Abraham's goatee there on the mountain. I tried to blend it in.
Oh, yeah.
The hair was
fun.
The hair was what was hard because Roosevelt is looking to the left and Lincoln's pretty much looking right back at him, and then Washington's looking up in the air. They're looking in different places, so just working on people's heads was a little bit hard. But there's Zach. You're Thomas Jefferson of the Mount Rushmore, Zach. So if anybody asks, you made it.
You made it
to Mount Rushmore. They'll be carving out Jordan's face somewhere over here on the right here in a few years, or Trout.
Oh,
right?
Man, no.
Zach, read that out loud to Zach real quick. He'll like that Frank Thomas stat. Before we get out of here.
Before we leave, we always have to throw some sort of Mike Trout under the bus.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so here we go. Swap meet. Just kidding. They're actually very similar. People forget how good of a player Frank Thomas was, and if Frank Thomas was playing today, some would be arguing he's the best player in the league. He played 1,000, and this is in their first 8 seasons between Mike Trout and Frank Thomas. Mike Trout's played 1,065 games, and Frank Thomas played 1,076. Batting average, Mike Trout is 307. Frank Thomas is 330.
I was thinking
240 home runs for Mike Trout, 257 home runs for Frank Thomas. On base percentage, 416 for Mike Trout, 452 for Frank Thomas. Slugging, 573 for Mike Trout, 600 for Frank Thomas. And WRC, what is that, WAR? Well, I don't know what WRC was. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. 172 for Mike Trout, 177 for Frank Thomas. So in their first 8 seasons, Frank Thomas statistically better than Mike Trout.
All right, guys. We'll see you Saturday on Shock Jock Sports Talk.
I know you don't hear as much about Frank Thomas because he played in the Griffey Bonds era. And they were taking a lot of the